Hello again, I'm Omer Rains. I'm here today with our old friend, co-host, and longtime benefactor, Hugh Roy Marshall. Hugh Roy, why don't you tell us about this show? We've had over 150 episodes now, and you have a history and knowledge that probably no one else has.
Well, that could be in certain areas. Well, hi there. Yes, the reason we do this show is because every one of us makes a mark on the earth. Some of us deeper, some of us not quite so deep. But here in the community of Reno and our surrounding areas, we have tried to, in every way, trap those lives that have been essentially very important for the people in our area, and in some cases all over the world. But by and large, we have a couple of wonderful ladies here to talk about Art Town and to talk about the big show Hollywood shows of Jackie, and we'd like to get right into it with them.
Perfect lead-in, because we do have two remarkable guests today.
Oh, certainly.
One, Beth McMillan, who is the Executive Director of Art Town Reno. And Art Town Reno, for those of you who don't know, is one of the best art festivals in the United States, as recognized by the National Endowment of the Arts. Mm-hmm. And our other guest, whom we will get to very shortly, Jackie Ford, is a renowned singer, dancer, and actress who resides right here in Reno. And we'll tell about how she got here. But Beth, why don't you start out? There are over 500 events, as I understand, in Art Town Reno, in and around the Reno area. And it's got quite a history. Tell us about that history.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much for having me on here. This is really wonderful.
Welcome.
So thank you. In 1996, downtown Reno was pretty bleak. Casinos were closing. There was no urban lifestyle downtown, very few restaurants. We've got a beautiful river that comes from Lake Tahoe, goes through downtown Reno and ends up at Pyramid Lake. And it really was not being utilized. And a group of city leaders and business leaders got together. They had a little bit of money left over in the Arts and Culture Commission, which was then called City 2000. I think they had like $12,000 left over, and they decided that they wanted to bring people back downtown. We have a great downtown. Every great city has a phenomenal downtown, and ours wasn't doing so well. Mm-hmm. So they decided they were going to bring people back downtown, and they were going to use arts and culture as the tool to drive people back downtown. Mm-hmm. So they went to all the local arts organizations and asked them if they could do a performance or a children's workshop or whatever it is that they were best at. And they put all of that information on a poster and put the posters around town. And it was a 3-week celebration of the arts called Uptown, Downtown, Art Town. The uptown part was the university, downtown is obvious, and it was to connect our community together artistically. Mm-hmm. And they went to what was then Park Lane Mall. Do you remember Park Lane Mall?
Sure.
Me too.
And they interviewed people on video and said, if we did this, if we brought the arts downtown, would you come downtown to downtown Reno? And people overwhelmingly said no. They had no interest in going downtown.
Isn't that funny?
So they went ahead anyway.
And what year was that?
1996. So they went ahead anyway, and they put on this festival from, I think it was the 8th of July to the 28th of July. And 30,000 people came downtown.
Wow.
And that was the first year of Art Town. And here we are now, our 19th year. And typically we have about just over 300,000 people coming to our festival fantastic. During the month of July. Mm-hmm. It runs the entire month of July. Mm-hmm. About 77% of the festival is free to the community, so there's no admission. That's because we have such generous sponsors and donors. Mm-hmm. So arts are accessible to everybody, for people to come down. There's children's workshops, there's performances by local arts organizations. About 90% of Art Town is produced and put on by the local arts industry. And we at Art Town present and bring in about 10% our national and international artists from around the world.
May I interrupt to ask a question?
Sure.
When you talk about art, that's a very broad phrase. Can you break it down? Because I believe there are a number of different types of art that you do expose the community and visitors and tourists to. Is that not correct?
That is absolutely correct. And we want to continue to broaden the scope of the definition of art because it is so much broader than painting a picture or putting on a play or doing a dance or singing a song. It's the culinary arts, it's history, it's architecture, it's cultural, it's looking at different ethnicities and how can you celebrate those through the arts. It's language, it's literature, it's Art Town covers every discipline of the arts. We want to be fully inclusive of the arts and culture, and so really we've opened up the playing field so that it's a platform for everyone who has artistic expression.
Now,
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
It really is. Now, with over 500 events being offered, what are the venues in which they are offered? They can't all take place at one time.
No.
At one place.
No, we have over 100 different locations. And again, we want to put art where you least expect to find it. Obviously, Wingfield Park in downtown Reno, right on the banks of the Truckee River, is our main stage. And that has a great history. That was built for the Reno Municipal Band and has become our main stage. So that it has great history as well. We are also south of town. We're now in the Collin Ranch area. We're in restaurants. Restaurants become galleries and performance spaces. One year we had the Truckee River had an art exhibit of neon Lahontan cutthroat trout swimming up and down the river, but it was neon art. So we have performances in churches. So we want to...
What about out at Bartley Ranch?
Bartley Ranch. The Robert C. Hawkins Amphitheater is absolutely fabulous. We have a lot of events going on out there. Every Monday we have a free Monday night music series, and this year we have a brand new series called our Summer Soiree Under the Stars, which is actually a gated series, and so that's ticketed events. And so this year we try and make it as diverse as possible. So for that series we have Los Lonely Boys, we have Jesse Cook, who's a flamenco guitarist from Canada. We have Judy Collins.
Wow.
And we have Don McLean with American Pie.
And you have this beautiful lady seated next to me, I know.
And Jackie will
Another one of the
be
highlights.
performing at Wingfield Park. So, yeah, we really, and the amount of events that we have for children so that they're the future audience members and the future artists that we have coming up, we really want to focus on our seniors as well. Because, for having free events for people on fixed income, that's an incredible opportunity for people to enjoy July. And our summer evenings, even though it can be tremendously hot, it's down by the river or at Bartley Ranch, it cools down in the evening. We're not Las Vegas or Phoenix. We have beautiful evenings.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
So we really are positioned for a perfectly fabulous festival. And I encourage everybody to come and see what it is that our community comes to. It's really built on collaboration between funders and artists and audience members and the entire community.
Well, let's integrate this conversation now. And Jackie, may I call you Jackie?
Yes, you may.
Jackie Ford is somebody with whom I am familiar by name because she's quite famous. And I don't believe you started here, however, did you?
Not originally, no.
Tell us about how you ended up here, because I know you were in New York City, you were in Broadway, you were in, I believe, Las Vegas and elsewhere.
Yes, I started out in Michigan, and I was involved in the fine and performing arts in the community initially. Got a scholarship, 4-year scholarship, and majored in speech, theater, and communication, and was active in the community in a lot of different areas. But I initially auditioned for a job that was going to be taking me on tour, singing backup for a major recording artist with Atlantic Records. And so I auditioned for a gentleman named Charlie Atkins from Motown, who was the choreographer for all of the big names like the Supremes and the Temptations and the Spinners and all. And he hired me to be one of the backup singers. And so I went on this wonderful tour, which took me all across the United States. And from there, it just kept snowballing, you know. When that tour ended, I got another job, and then another job, and then another job, which the last one led me to Las Vegas to try to initially get to here. I did the MGM show called Hallelujah Hollywood, and then Jubilee for Mr. Don Arden at the MGM Grand for a number of years. And then after several years of that, he asked me to come and be a principal here in Reno. And I said, Reno? Where in the heck is that? So he told me, and I got a ticket. He gave me a ticket and said, go see the show. Tell me if you like it and you want to do it. So I did, and I came up, and it was beautiful. I said, I fell in love with Reno. And I said, okay, where's the pin? And then I saw Tahoe and everything, and I've been here ever since.
So, Jackie, there came a point in time when you did relocate or came to Reno, correct?
Yes, I did.
We want to hear all about that. We're going to take a break, a very short break, and then you tell us that story, please.
I'll be happy to.
Jackie, when we cut, we were just about to talk about the way in which you came to Reno. Can you tell us that story and elaborate on it, please?
Well, I initially joined the cast of Hello Hollywood Hello, which was at the MGM Grand during those years in the 80s. And now it's called the Grand Sierra Resort, of course. But that major showroom was where we did this multi-million-dollar production show, which was a tribute to all of the old Hollywood musicals.
It was spectacular.
Yeah, wasn't it? I so miss it. And Beth did that show also as a performer before she became director of Art Town. Many of us that were in that show actually are still residents here in Nevada after the show closed, I believe, in 1989. And we just so loved it here, you know, with the river and Tahoe and the mountains and the beauty and the warmth of the people and the community. And so initially when the show closed, it ran for almost 10 years. Usually all of the Don Arden MGM shows ran for 10 years. So after it closed in 89, many of us scattered and did other things. I went to Europe and I went to New York, lived there for 7 years and other places. And then I decided to come back to Reno because I got sick of the big cities and all the noise and the craziness and the crime and pollution. And I said, I'm going to go back to that beautiful community that I know called Reno, Nevada.
And we are awfully happy
We're
you
happy
did.
that you did.
And I have a big concert coming up for Art Town, which is July 13th, which is a Sunday evening. And
July 13th, Sunday
yes,
evening.
yes.
Where?
It is going to be at Wingfield Park from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
Cost?
And the cost is free.
Free.
Hey, I want everybody to come and enjoy it because I'm singing my new CD, which was just released, called Jackie Ford, Alive and Swingin'. And I'm performing it with the original orchestra that I recorded it with, the Reno Jazz Orchestra. So you're going to hear me and a 17-piece big swing band at Wingfield Park in the amphitheater on July 13th. It's a Sunday. So everybody come and have a great time.
Yeah,
it's going to be
it's gonna be
thrilling. I've
fantastic.
got dancers also. So it's going to be spectacular. So
And there's a photo of Jackie in the little book of Art Town, if anybody hasn't got that.
Yeah,
This
you
is,
get the booklet.
the little booklet has it all in here.
And you can get these booklets at the Art Town office.
And
Beth, you wanna tell them?
yeah, you can get them at US Bank branches, at Scalari's, at Porter Subs, and many of the merchants downtown and around town, but also at our office. And you can also get a full schedule at renoisarttown.com. And remember, Art Town has only one T.
But
People always say, I couldn't get onto your website.
Well, let me ask this, Beth. In connection either with Jackie or with other performing artists of note, will they be able to, will the tourists and the those who attend be able to acquire or purchase CDs and other
Yes.
memorabilia?
I will have them available at the concert. So
Great.
Great.
the concert will actually be this album performed live. So if everybody wants to take a little piece of the concert home, they'll be available to do that by getting my CD that same evening.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, sometime today, are you going to do a little performance for us?
I'd be happy to. I'm singing a lot of the classic jazz standards, which many people love, and that's why they're still iconic because they're so beautiful. I've got songs I'm singing by those of you that know composers, Johnny Mercer, Sammy Cahn, George Gershwin, people like that. Those are the types of composers whose music I gravitate to. And I love the jazz standards. I grew up hearing music by Lena Horne and Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald and Judy Garland, and so it's just I just absorbed it, and I'm just love expressing it, and the music is just so beautiful that I want to share it with everybody.
What a rich history. Really? So Beth, do many of the artists have these credentials of this nature?
You know what I think is the answer is yes. I would. I mean, Jackie's obviously exceptional, but really, I think when you look at any artist, they're not just an artist out of nowhere. Their schooling is through hard knocks and travel and touring and figuring it out. But the one thing I will say for what Hello Hollywood Hello provided when it was at the MGM, every single night, although it was down in a band room under the stage, 3 floors down, we performed to a live orchestra, a live band every single
That's
night.
true.
It was beautiful.
And then
Really?
at some point when there was cutbacks were made, I know that we turned to canned music.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have to say, I feel very strongly that our arts industry, for the size of community that we have, is incredibly strong. And I
Incredibly
really
rich, yeah.
believe that it's because it had its roots with all those musicians and dancers and singers from Hello Hollywood Hello.
Wow.
You know, we
Several
all
of
I think that's true. How many years did that play again? 5 or 6
I think it
years?
started
It
in
was several years.
Yeah, I started in
About 10
I went to it at
79.
least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And many of those musicians that played in the orchestra for our show are still here in Reno, and
Right.
several of
They
them
found
are
love.
also in the orchestra, the Reno Jazz Orchestra. Here, it's a picture there. I don't know if you can see it. Directed by Mr. Chuck Ryder, and they are fabulous. They are superb. They can top New York or Los Angeles musicianship. You know, studio musicians. They're impeccable, and they have their own music as well. But it's just a pleasure to be able to perform with them on the 13th. I'm getting more and more excited as the days fly by. But yeah, it's going to be incredible. But they are phenomenal. And they also are teaching a lot of the younger students that are here in Nevada. They're teaching at UNR. We have several that are
Wonderful.
teaching trumpet, they're teaching drums, they're teaching jazz composition, you know. So yeah, we have a wonderful, wonderful little community here that's quite unique.
and you know, most of the dance studios in Reno are owned and operated by former dancers from
right.
Hello Hollywood Hello as well.
Isn't that
Right.
something?
So it really
Yeah.
has provided an incredible base.
I knew it was profound, the effect of it, but I didn't realize it was quite that profound. And people,
Yeah.
Do
They
you
all
know,
love
yeah,
the area.
and you know, a little historical piece on the Ziegfeld Showroom, as it was called back then.
sure.
Now it's called the Grand
Grand
Theater.
Theater.
But the Ziegfeld Showroom, I still think, is still the largest indoor proscenium stage in the world. The stage is an acre,
it is a
Wow.
big,
and
beautiful stage.
the airplane that was on in the show is still backstage.
It's still backstage?
Yeah, you would
How
have
big?
to
the
dismantle it to take it
Oh.
out of there. So it's still backstage, and it's used for several different promotional things, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an extraordinary stage in the history of the genre of arts that it provided.
Right. And
Yeah.
our town also has events there, right?
Correct. We do.
In the showroom.
We do events at the Grand Sierra. They're a very a big sponsor of ours, and they really partner beautifully with us. We do really quite significant performances there. Last year we brought in Yo-Yo Ma. We brought in Steve Martin,
Wow.
American Ballet Theatre, Joffrey, San Francisco Ballet,
I remember Wynton Marsalis.
Winter
and his
Marsalis,
big
Herbie
band.
Hancock. I mean, we really are able to draw some of those really
That's beautiful.
phenomenal
That's
artists in the
fantastic.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Krikorian was a personal friend of mine for several years. I hired his babysitter over here at the house when my kids were little. And I don't know, in a way it's changed, but the current owners seem to be doing a great job. It seems much better than the previous owners.
They've remodeled tremendously. Have you been
Yeah,
inside
I think
there?
it looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Of course, I like those big chandeliers the way it used to be. That was the biggest gaming
Yes.
hall in the United States when it was built.
Right.
It was
Yeah,
very
it was-
grand.
Yeah, it's still very grand. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was just at the opening. It wasn't the grand opening; it was the pre-opening of their new nightclub called Lex, and it's wonderful. It's beautiful. It even has a swimming pool in it. So for those of you that haven't been, check it out.
Yeah, I've got a
Roy
daughter
has that in
that's
his own
working-
home.
working
Oh,
there.
that's
Wow.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, now, Beth, I'm really curious. This art town is so extensive, so robust.
Yeah.
You surely can't do it alone. I know that Elizabeth Maddox and certain others are assisting you, are they not? Jennifer Maddox, excuse me.
You'll be very surprised to hear this. We have a staff of 4.
That's all?
You're going to be very busy.
Yeah. We have a tremendous amount of volunteers. We have typically about 100 volunteers because it's not a weekend or a week-long event, it's a whole month.
Yeah, the town is growing uniquely beautifully. And of
Right.
course, having beautiful people perform beautifully is what it got to be all about. That's the way it was before, I assume, as we studied the area here, really top performers came to Reno, and it was the only gambling place because there was no Las Vegas.
Well, I was going to say, Las
Right.
Vegas was tiny compared to Reno. Remember
Yeah.
that? And then Howard Hughes showed up.
Yeah, he had something to do with, he and his corporation.
Well, I think we're going to take another short break. And please stay tuned because we're going to come back and talk about the ways in which Reno has reinvented itself, continues to do so, and in large measure because of what we're discussing today.
Art Town.
Art town.
Art Town. Here we are back again at Old Tales of Nevada, past, present, and future. As we left, we were talking about the way in which Reno is actually reinventing itself. And the Art Town program has a lot to do with that. And in fact, the National Endowment of Art's recognition certainly assists and evidences the extent to which that is in fact happening. Beth, again, to you. Tell us about the significance of that recognition.
Well, I think what's really fantastic is that we are recognized federally. We get funds from the National Endowment for the Arts. We're recognized by the state. We get money from the state of Nevada. We're recognized by the city. They're our major funder. And we're recognized by the county. So we are recognized by government. And I think that's very important to know that our community from our community all the way to a national level have recognized Art Town and the arts and in our community. And that's tremendous because I really think that the state of Nevada, even though we're a big state, we're very underrepresented, underserved in some regards and
Very true,
aspects.
very true.
And I think that's true in the arts. And I think that Art Town has really stepped it up to make sure that we have a presence. I make sure I serve on various boards and I'm on different committees and I serve on different discussion panels from all over the country to make sure that we have a voice. And I always want to have a place at the table. I don't want to be part of the meal. I want to be sitting at the table and be talking about what it is that we do and how we do it and how we change our community and how we serve our community through the arts and how important the arts are to our everyday existence. I always talk about that we're all artists. We get up in the morning and we get dressed. The way we dress ourselves is an artistic interpretation of who we are. The way we decorate our homes is an artistic interpretation of how we want to see ourselves in a daily basis. Our gardens, we landscape our gardens. Is that not an artistic expression of how we... So art really is immersed in our everyday. So when you were talking earlier about arts is much more vast than originally what you interpret as art. It's so much grander. And we are all immersed in it, and we're all a part of it. It makes us feel good. It's good for business, which is tremendously important for our sponsors to know that what we do is good for business and good for the economy of our community. And we know that last year we have an estimated direct impact of about $15 million into the local economy. And that's very
Fantastic.
important.
Very
So
needed.
it doesn't get much better than that, right?
It's a
Well,
wonderful,
very-
wonderful social event. It's a wonderful social event, bringing us all together, no matter what part of town you live in, or also tourists or people that happen to be visiting here.
Sure.
They'll come back year after experiencing Art Town. It's a celebration of humanity. It's a celebration of us expressing ourselves and our spirits and music of all different genres. Country music was the opening night. There's jazz, there's swing, there's poetry, there's visual art, there's dancing, performances, just everything. So it's most exciting, a most exciting time. So get your booklets.
Yeah.
Well, the very fact that you anticipate 300,000 people or thereabouts attending over 500 events in multiple venues evidences the extent to which you have captured the imagination, the attention of an awfully lot of people in a broad cross-section, no doubt,
Yes.
of not only this community, but those who visit because of our town.
Yeah, and Our Town was started, obviously, and we told the story, to bring people, our community, to downtown, to celebrate in our own backyard, essentially. And we were not, I think that some of the other special events are specifically built for tourism. Our town was built for our own community, and tourism has followed. Because whenever you're in a city, you want to go to the environment where the locals go, right? So we know that we have a tremendous, impact from tourism.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, Beth, when you say community, you really are talking about not only Reno, but Sparks, about
Sure.
a number of
Truckee,
communities
Lake
around
Tahoe,
Lake Tahoe,
Carson City,
Incline Village,
yeah.
Truckee, and other places in this
Minden,
area, correct?
Gardnerville,
The greater Reno
Virginia
area.
City.
Yeah, Virginia City, sure.
Yeah.
Virginia City?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really, the putting together a huge celebration of something. We really don't close streets. We just here for a month if you want us. And I feel like even people who are not engaged on a daily basis with Art Town, Art Town ignites this community for a month. It makes everybody feel better about Reno. Not that we feel badly about it, but everybody feels that your spirits are uplifted.
Certainly.
There's
Beautiful
something
energy.
going
Every
on.
city
There's
is,
something for kids.
Yeah.
You can participate as an artist, or you can participate as an attendee. You can participate any way you want, and you can create your own art town. I had a friend one day who is a guitar player, and he went into a restaurant. This was several years ago. And he said to the restaurant people, he goes, well, I'm here, I'm going to play for Art Town. And they said, oh, come on in. They gave him a place, and he sat down and he played his guitar, and he's a very good guitarist. But he wasn't in the little book, he wasn't on the agenda, but he created his own Art Town, which I
Isn't
thought
that
was
something?
pretty eventful.
Yeah.
But it's just an honor. People say to me, who do you work for? Well, obviously I work for a board of directors, but I really work for every person who lives in this community.
Isn't that beautiful?
And it's an honor to serve and make a difference to the community in which you choose to live. When I flew in here in 1983 to join Hello Hollywood Hello, I thought, I'm not going to stick around here long. I've never left.
But through the years, Reno has grown and blossomed, and then
really
again,
is.
thanks to the artists that many of them came from Hello Hollywood, Hello, and there were a few other shows, cabaret shows, and some of the
Absolutely.
hotels who had performers, dancers and singers and all, and we've all contributed and fell in love with the city, and now we can see it blossoming like, a garden of beautiful flowers. Everybody's, even Midtown, we have this new Midtown area, in Reno, and everybody's just in this celebratory, let's enjoy life, let's do something wonderful and share in it, and it's just delightful. It's just delightful.
Well,
Beth, your comment reminds me of myself because I've been here, by here, mainly Lake Tahoe, Incline Village, off and on for about 15 years. I have moved away from time to time to Geneva, Switzerland, and other venues, but I always come back.
Right.
I mean, nature is my cathedral, and this is a blessed place in our country. This area of Reno, Lake Tahoe, and around Virginia City and elsewhere, the history, the nature. I mean, it's just a glorious spot in which to live and to participate. And Hugh Roy, I've heard him talk extensively about the way in which this area is reinventing itself in many different ways. And maybe,
Yeah, it really is. It's
and maybe
almost
you
like
can
it's
tell us the way in which.
recycling return to its earlier, more of a VIP status in the state for very high quality entertainment.
Much so before
there
Las Vegas was
great
ever
high quality
founded.
entertainment 35 years ago, or maybe 45 years ago.
Yeah.
But it had quite a long ebb, and now it's just flooding back. And of course, we thanked our mayor, who was over here a week before last, and he's done a lot to help this, and the whole group of councilmen, and everybody seems to have really helped the Our Town concept, and it is really making a big change on this community. And you guys are going down in history for doing it.
And that really factors in the
no doubt
entire
about it.
equation of resurrection, restoration, and significance to this community.
Kind of like
Really
a
does.
renaissance in a way, you know. And I'd like to personally thank the city council and the mayor, and also citizens who donated, you know, time or in-kind things throughout the decades for Art Town and for other events.
Yeah,
you know.
volunteers are essential to this
they
area.
are.
And just watch how they clean up the Truckee River area over there,
Yeah.
and pick up everybody's garbage out in the desert. It's we have a great community here. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, volunteers are worth their weight in gold.
Oh, yeah,
I
you
think
gotta
we
have
make
it.
little bars out of them.
Gotta have it.
They're worth the weight in gold, and Hugh Roy has most of it.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm working on it.
Yeah, but Reno is a gem. It's
It
a
is.
gem of a little town, you know, and you realize that once you've traveled a lot and lived other places, you know, and as you mature, you go, wow, isn't this place really fascinating? It's beautiful, the environment,
Very much so.
you know, it's
Fantastic
so
environment.
gorgeous.
Well, Jackie, I think you're going to do a little song for us too, huh? Or,
I am, I'd be happy to.
yeah,
Well, we're going to do that. We're going to do that right after this next break, and it's upcoming
Okay.
shortly because I
Okay.
don't want to interrupt it
Okay.
at that time.
Yeah.
So why don't we take a short break at this time, and we'll be back in just a moment, and we're going to hear Jackie perform, and that will be a highlight for all of us.
Most certainly.
Thank you. I had a secret love
Oh,
that lived within the heart of me. All too soon my secret love became impatient to be free. Now I shouted from the highest hills, Virginia City,
Yeah.
even told the golden daffodils, at last my heart's an open door, and my secret love's no secret anymore.
oh, I can't wait till the 13th.
Thank you.
Wow, lovely, Jackie,
That is
absolutely
lovely.
lovely. Goodness gracious.
Yes, I want everybody to come tomorrow, Sunday, July 13th, Wingfield Park Amphitheater.
And the price is right.
Yes.
And what time is it again, Jackie?
7:30 to 9 p.m.
7:30 till 9 p.m.
Right. So
Better
people
be
can
there.
come to the park starting at 4:30 and pick their spots, bring
There you
their
go.
chairs or their blankets and their picnic baskets and whatever.
And girlfriends and significant others and brides
yes,
and
everything good.
everything's
And
good.
children are very encouraged because we want to teach them all this music.
Yes, and there'll be some
Exactly.
dancers. I've got some dancers as well. A few male dancers coming with the top hat and the tuxedos, and female dancers as well. So yeah, come and dance and have a great time with me.
And Wingfield Park has a dance
Fantastic.
floor.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
there will be a dance floor.
Dancing will be encouraged.
All ages, all ages.
So, Beth, is this the type of entertainment that we can expect throughout this month-long series?
Indeed, there's so much beauty in all of this, as you've just heard. On Monday night, there's an extraordinary event out at Barkley Ranch at Robert C. Hawkins Amphitheater. It's again, price is right, it's free. Perla Bataya, she's a Mexican-American singer. She's absolutely gorgeous. She was Leonard Cohen's backup singer.
Oh, wow.
And she's doing the Leonard Cohen songbook.
Fantastic.
And that's at Hawkins Amphitheater. So I adore the music of Leonard Cohen and his lyrics. So that'll be a really
One
fun
not to miss.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then the following Monday at that same venue, the Reno Philharmonic will be doing Pops on the Ranch, another free
Fantastic.
event by the Reno
Fantastic.
Philharmonic. And then we close out that series the following Monday, Boogie Woogie style, with a Canadian keyboard player and pianist, Michael K. Salmon. He's young and fabulous and very, very talented, not to be missed.
Sounds like fun.
So that's
Wow.
at Hawkins. And then we've got some great things at Wingfield Park. One of my favorite things is the cultural diversity that we do.
Yeah.
We really try and make sure that we bring the
inclusive.
music and the art of cultures from all over the world. And let's see, coming up this week, Mariachi Sol de Mexico. If you have not experienced mariachi music, I promise
I
you,
love it.
Yeah,
it
I do
is
too.
beyond fabulous. Then the following week we have New York Gypsy All Stars, which is gypsy music from the Balkans and Greece and Turkey.
Fantastic.
And then the last Wednesday night we have a band from Cuba. They've never been to the United States.
Oh,
I don't think they even
that
speak
should be
English.
interesting.
So the real deal from Cuba. So yeah, it's really phenomenal to be able to introduce new cultures to this community.
I was in Cuba for 17 days just recently, and one of the great programs I've seen in my entire life, Opera de la Calle, or Opera on the Street.
Oh wow.
Oh, it was
yes.
extraordinary. 3 hours of solid energy. I mean, that place was rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And they had merged traditional opera, great songs of opera, along with modern music.
Beautiful.
And the
with
composition
the
was
congas and
amazing, and
everything?
the dancers there unmatched in the world. Oh, Lord.
Nice.
Wow.
Just tremendous. And the electricity, you could just feel it. Everybody did.
They're very passionate.
They are. Yeah, they are.
That's the way our town is. It's going to be
Yes.
passionate and fantastic.
Well, I feel like
Right.
being a Frenchman for a month where they take August off.
Yeah.
This would be July rather than August, but
Right.
Yeah, it's very inspiring.
you've got so much going on. I don't know
Keep
that
people
any of
busy
us
every
could
day.
partake of all of it, but certainly
Yeah, and
there's a lot from which to pick and
on a
choose.
Tuesday night in Wingfield Park, we give the stage over to our local dance companies. And every Tuesday is a different dance company showcasing really what it is that they do. And we've got ballet companies, we've got tap, we've got jazz, contemporary, we've got hip hop, we've got salsa. So there is a great showcase of the arts industry, the dance industry that we have here every Tuesday night in Wingfield Park, and that's also not to be missed. Also, we have movies in the park. And
Yes,
I know, talking about Nevada history, we're showing the Misfits.
Oh,
yes,
And I'll have to
Nevada.
take a look and see what date that is. It
Maryland
might
Road,
even be on the 18th. You know, the movies in the park are really great. It takes place on a Friday night because it obviously has to be late, so we don't want to work day the next day. So
And that's Clark Gable and Marilyn Monroe.
yeah.
Yeah.
They filmed it here in Nevada.
About the
Correct.
Mustangs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Mapes is in it, right? The old Mapes.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so there's a lot of Nevada history. The other historical thing that's also one of the Nevada 150 events is the stamp show. There's a stamp
Oh,
collector's show that happens.
beautiful. Stamp
So-
collector.
Let me just ask one further question. Although we have focused on the month of July, Art Town Reno, and this incredible series of events, but there's great talent throughout the year, is there not, Beth?
We want
Lots
Art
of wonderful
Yeah, we
events.
want Art Town to be a launching pad for all of our artists to show what they can do, to showcase what they do, so that they will garner and cultivate audiences
Great
for the
idea.
rest of the year.
Sure, great
So if you
idea.
like what you see with the Reno Chamber Orchestra, or the Reno Jazz Orchestra, or Jackie, or the Philharmonic, whoever it is, if you like what you see, then you will purchase tickets to go see what they're doing the rest of the year in the venues where they're performing.
You know, the fact is that Reno's got a great library. It really does for this city this size. It's got a great cultural center. It has fine music, orchestra, chamber music. I mean, it's got so much
And
going for it.
the music
And
program
that,
up at the university.
and that story is getting out. It's getting out not just to this area of the country, but throughout the country.
Well, there's a young gentleman who went to McQueen High School that just won the Tony for Best Choreographer. So he grew up, yeah,
yes,
for the
that's right.
production on Broadway called A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
Yes.
And
Big
he's-
on Broadway right now.
Yeah, I saw the performance. I saw it when I was there in January, and a kid from Reno is the choreographer.
Yeah. They showed it on the
Great.
Tony
That's-
Awards.
You know,
Set
we,
it
ought,
in
and,
motion.
and we really ought to add also that we have
Wonderful.
two really fine four-year educational situations here. One at University of Nevada, Reno, and one at Sierra Nevada College
Right.
in
And TMCC
in Incline Village,
and
and a lot of
TMCC.
other
Yeah.
post-secondary institutions feeding into those four-year colleges.
And you know that I think that every single high school has an orchestra and a band.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
and I might be wrong, and there might be a couple of bands, but there's a strong showing in our school district, even though they say the arts are cut, we all fill in those voids. We fill in the gaps by doing what we do to make sure that our kids do know about the arts and aren't getting educated
That's
in the
really
arts and
important.
experiencing
Really
it.
important.
So that they understand the importance of it. Yeah, you're right.
I am so sorry that we really are running out of time.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
We've had a great guest today. It's been enriching and informative. Hugh Roy, thanks again for all of the contributions you make to this program, to this show on an ongoing basis. It's really, really enriching for all of us.
Well, I love all
And
you
of course,
guys.
I want to thank the audience.
Make history around here. That's what it's all about.
I want to thank the audience. I want to encourage all of you to tune in again to this very, very excellent program, Weekly in Nature, Old Tales of Nevada, Past, Present, and Future. In the meantime, again, this is Omer Raines saying goodbye for now. Have a great time this week in this lovely and blessed spot of our country.